Dickson, thank you so much for taking time to speak with us again today about what you did when you were in your 20s. You're a serial entrepreneur, unlike none other, two very successful businesses, the first Black woman to raise over $1 million in secure token offering. And you're by the community, for the community. You've even famously said, if they don't give us a seat at the table, we'll bring one ourselves. So I understand that this drive and passion didn't just begin yesterday. So my point is, I want to find out, when did you first know you wanted to become an entrepreneur? And what did you do in your 20s to make this dream become your reality?
Yeah, thanks for having me. And I love that you're doing this because a lot of times you see the end. I'm 41 right now, and you see the end of it and you're like, as a young person, like, where do I start? Like, how can I relate to these people when I see them, making millions of dollars or doing these big things, but like they couldn't have just landed here, by chance. And so I went to school for IT. I can give a little backstory on that because when I was in college, I wanted to be an MTV VJ. So I wanted to be, now this is beyond, this is not, this shows how old I am because there's no such thing as MTV VJ anymore. But I wanted to host music video television. And so I went to school for journalism. And then when I was working at the news station, I went to Ohio State and I was working at a news station in my town. They were giving me, as the young college kid, they were giving me all of these tasks that were highly technical, like doing FTP for the news. And this is before streaming. This is before social media. This is before smartphones. And this is before news was online. This was the first news station in the state to have online news. And it wasn't live stream. It was after the news broadcast. And so that's when I realized, like, technology is going to be taking over media. And I wanted to have an advantage. So I went to school for IT to learn technical skills. I never imagined that I was going to be an entrepreneur yet. Even though I have entrepreneurs in my family, I just didn't have a business that I wanted to start. I mean, as a young person, I would do like lemonade stands and, little things like that. But like, I didn't know that it was a career, right? So when I went to school for tech, that's when it opened my eyes up to the possibilities of technology and everything that could be done using this new tech that was emerging. And that's when I decided to start my own business. So I was 21 when I started my first tech company, and it was called the Urban Star. And what we did was start to put all of the entertainment, news, events, parties, clubs, restaurants, bars, festivals online in one place. Because back then, this is in 2001, that didn't exist. If you wanted to find out what was going on, you had to go and get a physical piece of paper, a flyer, or, someone had to put it in the newspaper. There was no website that existed for events. And again, there was no social media, so you couldn't see posts. There was no Eventbrite. There was none of these things. And so it really blew up. It became a big thing, but really it was because of us being young. I just graduated from college. I wanted to find out where to go, where to party, and it was a need that we had. And so that's when I got my entrepreneurial bug, my tech bug, just solving my own problem in my 20s. And in my 20s, I ended up being, starting this site just to solve this problem of where to go. It turned into a big media outlet. So I had my own media outlet. I started gathering emails. So I had the largest email list of people in the city. So I started to sell, email blasts. This is before MailChimp. This is before Constant Contact. All of these, they did not exist. I started to sell email blasts and HTML templates that we coded ourselves. Then started to sell ads on our website. And so in my 20s, I was like in the beginning of the internet movement. And I was one of the first online marketers by accident, just trying to find a way to party with my friends. And then that led to, of course, I was an MTV VJ. That never happened. And that led to many things happening in my life that now I've been an entrepreneur 20 years.
You're really sharing important information that people in their 20s need to hear. So we've looked through and seen and read through a lot of interviews that you've done including with Forbes and the Breakfast Club. And on the Breakfast Club, you mentioned that for your businesses, Flat Out Heels and also PopCom, you raised money and funding from family, friends, and people in your network that you started building while you were in college. So can you
Yes.
talk to us about how to build such a strong network while you're in college and how to maintain it as well?
I mean, the thing about it is, you never know who someone's going to grow up to be. Where at the time I was a young college student, I had my friends, we have dreams and goals, and not a lot of money, but a lot of dreams and goals and plans. And I've always knew, like, the kind of person I am is to treat everyone like they're important. Everyone, from the janitor to the class president or whatever, just be a friendly, polite, respectful person, because people don't forget that. And so that carried over into my career for sure, because beginning, it's like, it's important to build relationships when you don't want anything from a person. Organic, genuine relationships. So things you have in common, or even if you don't have anything in common, just saying hello. People will remember, oh, you always spoke to me at lunch or in the common area, or in the student union. I remember you always were saying hello or being nice. Like, those are things that people don't forget. So you just start by just being your authentic self, being friendly, being kind to others, definitely being open-minded, taking the time to get to know different people that may be different, learning about those differences. So I always was that type of person in general. So I was a very popular person because I was just friendly and approachable. So when I started my company, I first went to the campus because I just graduated. So I started to go to student union, signing up other students to say, do you want to learn about what's going on in the city? You want to party? Like, give me your email. Let me, here's a free t-shirt. Here's a free pen, things like that. But I would say, to build your network, literally just be involved in things. You don't know who those people are going to be later. A lot of my friends, many of my friends from my 20s, now, like I said, I'm in my 40s, they are executives, high officials in government, high officials in corporations, millionaires, billionaires, and maybe some are not, but the ones that are not, those are the ones that still support me and are the ones that, invested in my crowdfunding campaign, bought my shoes, reshare my article, repost, retweet. Every single person is valuable. Every person you come across in your life has value.
That's really important to note. And it reminds me of a quote that I just saw, a few days ago. Your network is your net worth. So you really
Absolutely.
need to surround yourself with people who can help change your life and motivate you to
That's
do
my
it.
favorite.
Yeah.
But then you also never know. Like I said, you can't look at somebody and say, oh, they're the smartest kid in the class, and they're I'm going to make sure I'm friends with that person. It's the people you least expect. I'm telling you, and I'm telling you as a reflection of looking back 20 years ago. A lot of the people that I thought, oh, they're the class, they're the class star, they're the valedictorian, they're going to be the one that I need to know, they're going to be the millionaire of the future. It's not always those people. It's people that that often get overlooked, and those are the ones that have that fire in them, say, I'm going to prove everybody wrong. So I never imagined what the people that I knew from high school and college would do for my life. And uh, I just didn't know that then. But imagine if I would have been a mean girl back then, or if I would have just left a bad taste in their mouth. That carries over, and especially in the world of social media, because again, when I was younger, there was no social media. So all of my crazy behavior in college never got recorded. It's erased. Everything you young people do is online. So you have to be very careful of your online footprint as well, because it does not get erased. And so everything you do, tweet, post, and share, it lives forever in the records of the internet, even if you delete it. And so they have a way of digging up things much later. And so I was always very aware of that too. So you just have to be very aware. Think about where you want to be in your future and start to take those, just behave like you're already there. Behave like you're a well-known, whatever you want to be, behave like you're that. And that will help you alleviate a lot of issues that could arise from impulsive things that all young people do.
It kind of leads us into, we had seen you on an interview where you mentioned the idea of you're starting up a business and there's this concept of fake it till you make it. How can you use this as an entrepreneur, and how did you use that when you were in your 20s building your first business?
So, that's interesting because it's like fake it till you make it, but you don't want to be not authentic, right? So again, it's just how you visualize and how you see yourself. So it's not necessarily faking it, it's preparing yourself. So it's like, okay, I'm going to be let me just give an example. Okay, my goal is to be, or your goal is to be, ahead of a bank, right? You prepare yourself by becoming a subject matter expert in banking and finance, putting yourself in a position to be in the rooms of, conferences and events and, reading the books and engaging. So it's like, you're not faking it because you're not pretending you're something that you're not, but you are showing that you are headed in that direction. And so everything you do should be a reflection of where you're going, of what you're trying to accomplish. So I don't really like that phrase anymore, like fake it, because it's not really fake, right? Like if you are taking steps every day to get to your goal, and even if you're not a millionaire yet, you can be an expert, a subject matter expert, study it inside and out, and be that authority in your age category. So, when I was in my 20s, I was like an online marketing and media expert. And nobody like gave me that title. I just happened to be that person because it didn't exist. And I came up in a space that was very unique. And so I was the go-to person. People of all ages were coming to me trying to figure out how to, create an online marketing presence for their business. And so I wasn't faking it. I just was like, I was making it until I made it. I was just working on it,
You're not faking it. It's just maybe you're not totally established.
Yeah.
And you're working your way up to something bigger. So you're still learning. Yeah.
It's not fake, because when you're fake, it's like you're representing something that's not real and it maybe never will be. But if you're really actively working on it, then you're not faking it.
We had also heard you say that at Ohio State, you didn't necessarily have access to what they would say at Ivy League schools, like have a bunch of resources to venture capitalists, or basically I guess a larger, more connected network. So schools like Ohio State, what would you say a student at college or in their 20s should do about finding the right people to network with to gain funding for their business, or even find a mentor for that business to help them get it started?
So I would say, back when I was in college, no one talked about entrepreneurship. It wasn't a thing. There wasn't even like a class in entrepreneurship. It wasn't something that was popular as opposed to today. It's a big thing, So I think things have changed. It's definitely much different in the access to networks and people that communities of people that will foster entrepreneurship and encourage it exist on college campuses today. It did not. So I'm sure there's clubs and organizations and groups that you can align with in your community and at your schools that are even on like Meetup, right? Like Meetup did not exist. You can literally find a group of people to meet up with, whatever you want to do. There's conferences constantly. There's startup weekends and startup weeks and so many things that you can do. So that's where I would start, doing meetups, joining Facebook groups of people that are like-minded, joining groups in your community, going to places like SCORE, which is funded by the SBA. There's a SCORE office in almost every city in America that offers free mentorship and guidance for small businesses. And go there and really, tap into the resources that exist today. When I was younger, these things did not exist. So you guys are really coming up in a great time where there's so many resources that can help you with whatever it is that you want to do in life. I think it's a great time to be a young person. There's just so many things available for you all.
For now, our last question. Your track record shows that you know how to get stuff done. You know how to break records, really bring strong products to market. And I'm just really excited to see what the future continues to hold for you. But we have seen, in the past, you did mention that you will do whatever it takes to get exposure for your brand and your business, even if, the immediate answer is no. So can you talk to us about persistence? How do you remain resilient? When you hear the no's in your 20s, how do you really find a way into the door? And again, just general best advice for students and professionals in their 20s on how to remain persistent.
Just really, find your why. Because it's when people tell you no, it could be discouraging if you don't have it within yourself why you're actually doing it and why what you're doing is important and why you're the best person to do it and why it's relevant, why the market needs it. So knowing your business inside and out, knowing your goals inside and out, that can help to really just quiet the noise. It's a lot of noise out there. They're going to say no. They're going to say it's not a good idea. I mean, I've been told all of my ideas weren't good because it wasn't good to that particular person, and that's fine. I use the example of like a business that really got popular called a Snuggie. It literally was a blanket with sleeves. I thought it was the dumbest shit that I ever seen in my life, but they made millions of dollars. So someone said, I think blankets should have sleeves. And someone definitely said, that's so dumb. But they went out and did it and made millions of dollars because I guess other people felt like they want a blanket with sleeves, like instead of a jacket or a hoodie or just covering yourself with a blanket. So that proves, and many other things that some of us may not think are good ideas, that there's a market for everything. You just have to tap into it.
You also need to know about your market too. So if anybody questions you on it, hey, you're the market expert. So totally makes sense. And I do have one more question for you as well. I'd love for you to share with our viewers more about PopCom. What you're working on at PopCom. How's that been? How's your team? And then also just your future plans and goals for PopCom.
Well, PopCom, we just closed another round of funding recently. We're getting ready to raise another round of funding and launch our products this year. Finally, after building for several years and going through lots of ups and downs, which are very typical of high growth companies like mine. You have your peaks and your valleys, but we're getting ready to launch our product to the public now and start to finally get our machines out there. So if people, I know everyone's young and probably listening to this, but you definitely, it's not too early to start investing. I actually posted an article today called top 9 tech companies you can invest in now, Black tech companies you can invest in now. And you can invest for as little as $100 in some of these companies. And PopCom's minimum investment was is $250. So it's never too early to start. And so we're working on these campaigns now, and that's what we're doing. We're getting ready to just go out there again and raise money again.
That's awesome. And we'll make sure to link that article because it's important to note that, it's a great opportunity to get in with a company as early as PopCom right now, because PopCom is only going to continue to grow, only going to continue to get bigger. So everybody should take that opportunity. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, well, Don, again, thank you. I mean, we know you're very, very busy, but thank you for taking the time to speak with us. And I think Michael, a few days ago, found an article where you actually said that, you'll take opportunities to speak with new podcasts or web series anytime because you understand, the grind and early struggle. So again, like from the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much for speaking with us today as, we're trying to build out in their 20s and really just excited to see everything to come with you and then also your company.
Thank you. The 20s fly by fast, so enjoy every minute of it.
Will do.
Thank you so much, Don.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
See ya.
Bye.